this is the first session of storytelling for stages and pages, and I'm super duper excited. Like, I want to say that this is my most favorite program that I have, but that's almost not fair, but it is really one of my favorite programs. And just so you know, you guys are free to do whatever you need to in chat, talk to each other, introduce yourselves, whatever. I will look back and forth, but there are going to be times that I'm just going to be talking, and then times I'll look at chat in case you guys have questions and stuff. I will open it up for open coaching and questions and stuff like that. What I'm assuming for these calls is that when we get on for module 1, that you guys have done module 1. And then, you know, likewise with the rest of them. So I'm expecting you guys to be coming, having done module 1, even though we will also be going over module 1, if that makes sense. You just will be more prepared if you have already done it. If you happen to not do a module and there is a call coming up, please still come. Don't think that, oh, great, I just didn't do the module, it's not going to be worth it for me. Please do still come, because it helps you stay in momentum. And if you haven't noticed, I'm really one to talk about momentum and staying in action and doing things, because I really feel like doing creates the confidence that you need so that you keep going and that you'll be successful. I am a law of attraction practitioner. I'm certified 3 times in 3 different ways with law of attraction. So I truly, truly, truly believe that. I truly also believe that the movie The Secret left out a lot of things, because there is the law of right action and there's the law of gestation. So it's not just, oh, I'm going to sit on my couch and feel the Porsche steering wheel and pretend like I'm there, and all of a sudden Oprah's going to ring your doorbell and magical things are going to happen. Now, you know, you do have to be in the right energy, and I do believe that what you put out comes back to you. I believe that, you know, money loves to circulate. Money needs a purpose, and we all do as well, right? So while the law of attraction is very much a part of my life, the doing part is a huge thing. I don't know if that's an Asian upbringing or whatever, but just another Asian thing with me. Growing up Asian, if you haven't heard me say this before, my mother was one who, and I think this is true in a lot of cultures, or Asian families, I mean, that she felt she didn't need to tell me when I did something well. Love in Asian cultures is caring enough to tell somebody when they did something wrong. So a lot of Asian kids grow up thinking they're being picked on by their parents, or that they can't do anything right and you're never enough and all that kind of stuff. But truly, I didn't understand until I was a lot older that in Asian cultures, you don't say anything when you don't care. You don't give feedback, you don't give opinions, you don't tell somebody how they could be better, because you don't care about them. But if you did care about them, then you criticize them, which is the way that Asian parents definitely are. And so for me, a lot of times I tend to just cut to the chase and say what needs to get done. Now, I'm not going to say that, like, I'm going to be mean to you guys. I'm not. I'm just saying that I truly believe that when you get good constructive criticism, that you can go and take it and apply it. And I don't believe in doing a lot of coddling. Like with my kids, I'm just like, you know what? You do it, you don't do it. You do it, you have great consequences. You don't do it, or whatever the choice is, right? You just deal with whatever consequences. And for me in business, the consequence of not doing is not growing, not having the success, not having the clients. And I would really prefer for you guys to go out there in all your imperfect glory, flub up and fall on your face, but just keep doing it. One of my coaches said to me that somebody who goes out there consistently doing something imperfectly, or getting it what, you know, most people would say wrong, let's say, right? Not doing it completely right, is going to have more success than someone who's doing something more perfectly, because there is no perfect, right? Who is doing something more perfectly, but only doing it here and there. So consistency is going to get you more results than perfectness. So let's like chuck all the I have to be this or that, or I have to show up a certain way in order to be a certain something. I know that's like very vague. In order to finally decide we're going to show up. I think we need to first commit to showing up and figuring it out along the journey. And that's what I've done for my business. It's really helped me. So I would love to hear from you guys in the comments if you could. You know, my goals for you in this program is that by the time our 6 weeks are done, you know how you can go out there and get clients, like if you feel like it, if you want to. By using really great messaging, by knowing what benefits and outcomes you provide, by knowing your target market, and by being able to share your stories and really nailing that sales conversation. So my goal is that by the end of this, you're going to have at least one new client. And I know that's a lofty goal in 6 weeks. If you have 0 following, it's a little harder than if you already have a little momentum going, just to throw that out. And there's no comparison allowed here. Everybody who's in here is in different stages of their business. Okay, so there's no shaming about, you know, I'm not as far or whatever. Just go out and do it. So I would love to hear in the chat, in the comments, what are your goals for your 6 weeks in this program? What do you want to get out of it? Why did you join? Like all that kind of stuff. What do you want? Because I really feel like when you put that out there, then you're really making a declaration of an intention, and then other people can help you to stay accountable for it too. So, lastly, make sure you utilize the group. The group is where a lot of stuff happens, where you can get your feedback. I don't know if you saw that, it was Julie, right? That posted something earlier, and I gave feedback. And then I actually recorded a little video, like in a little audio about it as well. And if you utilize the group, you'll be able to get that kind of feedback from me. If you don't, then I can't help you. So make sure you use the group. Please, everybody else, you know, give great, great, great feedback and thoughtful feedback about things too, okay? What was I going to talk about next? Let's go through the workbook, and let me share screen. Let me make sure I have it up. Oh, I think I did want to show this as well. So, all right, you guys see my screen? So this is where you guys are logging into the membership area. So this is at member.vickygould.com. So we have this particular site that has all the content, and then we have the group where we have our discussions. And now I can't see if people are waiting to get in. Okay, I really hate that feature. Okay, so anyways, let me close this. Now I have all these windows open. What is going on? You guys see my page, right? Do you see the chat that's sitting in the middle of my page? I don't know how to move it. Oh, here we go. I'll just move that thing over here. Okay, so when you get into the member.vickygould.com, you click into it through here. You'll see the thing to join the Facebook group. I think everybody's in it already. And then you'll see the prep area with your Fun Fast freebie. You'll see if you want to rewatch the challenge, there were 2 versions of it, so there's a second version up now. And then all the modules. Today we're going to, and then these are where the coaching and the live group stuff is happening. This is the Zoom link, which you guys probably already know, and then the schedule. This is happening on a Tuesday. That last one is on Tuesday because Monday's Labor Day. All right, so let's go into Module 1. When you go into Module 1, you'll see a little intro from me. If you haven't watched this, definitely watch this. This was just the coolest thing. You know, my parents immigrated from the United States in 1960. My mom grew up very poor, and my dad grew up very rich. So my mom would not have enough food. They sucked the marrow out of chicken bones, and my dad got hot lunch delivered from a driver at lunch. So for them getting together, life was really different. My mom really thought that she was marrying into something that was going to take care of her. Little did she know that my grandfather had multiple wives, multiple families. My dad was the oldest of the first legal family, but that family was not the favorite family. So in the end, my dad really didn't inherit anything. His dad didn't really care. My mom thought she was marrying into something that was going to, like I said, take care of her, and she wasn't going to have to worry about money. And what she realized was that she was going to have to worry about money. They only had a few $100s between them, which I bet in 1960 was a nice amount of money, but wasn't enough to live off of forever. And my dad was getting his PhD. Well, later through life, my dad lost his job. And I remember back then it was like grocery bag fulls of letters going out, because we didn't have the internet. There was no Monster. There was no, there wasn't any of that stuff. And there came a time that my dad said, once he got the second job, and it took some time, he said, I think I'm going to get laid off again. And my mom was like, okay, that is not going to happen. We have to create our own business. And then we will always have job security because we are in charge, which is really funny because a lot of people think of it as the other way, that corporate is secure and entrepreneurship is not. But she raised me and my sister to think that, and to believe that having a corporate job was not secure because they could fire you, which is true, right? And I look back at that, and a lot of times I think about this whole idea of, going after your passion, which is what this video is about, right? And I look at what my mom and dad did, and I'm going, I don't really think they were passionate about it. It was just what they knew how to do. And part of being passionate about something, I think, is getting the confidence and having successes that make you energetic and excited about something, which then led to, I think, her growing a passion, my dad growing a passion for what they did. So what they ended up doing was they started out with some graphics design, and they did some computer installations, and they had government contracts because she was a woman minority-owned business. She got 8A, which is a category. So they got some extra perks from that, and that's how they got their contracts. And they had multiple contracts. Sometimes I think about, all that whole mindset and things, and I'm like, I think about my mom, her mindset about money was in the toilet, but guess what was actually really, really not in the toilet? Was her belief that it was going to work. It was her belief that she could have whatever she wanted so long as they went after it. She totally believed that this business would be successful, and they became millionaires with that business. And I'm telling you this story in conjunction with this video because all the things that I was taught as I went through different coaching programs, I kept thinking back to my mom going, I don't understand, but that doesn't make sense with my mom. And this video makes it all make sense. So that said, make sure you watch it. It's an awesome video, and it just leads you right back to the whole, be committed to your success, whatever that means, to get you from point A to point B. I know a lot of people talk about, if you were, I don't know, homeless on the street, or if your kid really needed something, or your kid was sick, or you were sick, or something like that, what would you do in that instance? Because sometimes we need those extreme instances to really dig down, but really it all boils down to that commitment. So, okay, let's talk about this module. You guys see? Can you guys see the module now? Yes. Okay. Awesome. All right, so this is called Give Them What They Really Want. And I just have to read this first sentence because I like it. I've always been told that I attract the most amazing people into my community programs and events. I have to agree. Just look at all of you guys. I am blown away by the number of people who have signed up for this program. Just goes to show how important it is to people that they get storytelling done and really mastered so that we can actually convert those clients into, or prospects into paying clients. When I first started out, it wasn't like this at all. I took anyone with a pulse, anyone into my Facebook group. I got on calls with anyone who wanted to talk. And sometimes they were all just, looking for free coaching. And I soon realized that that criteria of, they just have to be a pulse, wasn't a great client checklist. So this is why I really encourage you guys to know who you want to talk to, who you want to work with, who's your ideal client, who makes you happy, who's your favorite person to work with. you know, and at that time I thought I knew what my ideal client's pain points were. And it's really easy to think that we know, but it's not until we get into it that we really know. And you guys are going to get something a little bit later. I've been meaning to put it together to ask you about why you joined and what this program means to you. Because I want to know. I think I know, but I don't know until I actually ask you. So you're going to get something like that a little later to help me as well. So the first thing is to get really clear on who you want to talk to, so that when you share on any platform, you know who you're calling out to and they understand that you're calling out to them. I know so many posts, I've seen so many posts where people are just, you know, throwing stuff out there. If you call that person in, it's a lot easier for them to then respond and know that they are actually being talked to, that you're trying to reach them, right? And this is what I know. People who do not get clear on their target audience and message will run around in circles, attracting no one because their confusion hides behind everything they put out. I have people who were in my certification programs 3 years ago who have changed their mind almost every 2 or 3 months and are still at the same place they were 3 years ago, trying to figure out what somebody wants because they're chasing that rather than figuring out what it is that they can provide for people, right? The benefits, the outcomes. So you want every social media post, newsletter, video, blog, whatever, to speak directly to your target. So here's where I asked you to laser in on your target audience and message. Who is that target audience? List out their traits. And then next, using this template, and if you were part of the challenge, you've seen this template before. You really want to dig about speaking your audience language, knowing where they are now and where they will be after working with you. Because the where they are now are the pain points, where they will be after are all the benefits. We don't talk about process. We want to talk about benefits, right? So how do they feel? What is going on in their life? What keeps them up at night? What do they think about themselves or others? So make sure you do that. And then from what you wrote, take notes. Take notice of the topics that you've talked about and what people want to talk about with you. They either want to get away from pain or run towards pleasure. In general, I found that there's a little more urgency to get away from pain, right? So then list down the topics that you can see from those answers. And then these topics are all the different stories that you can tell, things that you can tie back to things that happened during your day or in your life, whether it was today or whether it was 13 years ago, right? So what's the solution you provide? We want to talk about benefits again, not processes, because talking about processes is a mistake I see so many people making because it's easy. We default to that. We love to talk about our programs. You know, we will love to talk about the features, but people don't care about those things until they believe that you can get them to their solution. Like, I don't really care how you help me lose weight until I know that you can help me lose weight, and then maybe you can tell me about those things, right? So if you think about the so that at the end of everything, it will make it a lot easier. If you notice on any of the challenges that I do, the landing page always has like, we're going to talk about this, so that. Then we're going to talk about this, so that. We're going to talk about this, so that. And the so that is the part that's attractive to people. Yeah, they're happy to talk about X, but the so that is what is really going to make them take action, right? So here's an example. Teach you how to share stories in engaging and attracting ways so that people will want to work with you. Because if I have stopped here, right? Teach you how to share stories in engaging and attracting ways. Sure, some people would like that, but doesn't it sound so much better when we say so that people will want to work with you, right? So now you get it. From the pain points that you see for your target audience, how can you help them? And then remember that there are different types of learners. What you put out needs to hit them all at some time. So sometimes you might put something out on social media that's written. It could be a blog, it could be a post, it could be an article, it could be a quote or a feature in an article, different things, right? You could be a guest on a podcast, you could record an audio, you could do a video live stream, you can do it on YouTube, you can do, you know, whatever it is. Make sure that you're combining all those things. So if you see module 1 has a short video, but it also has a written part, and now we're doing a live component. So you want to hit learners in every different way. I know sometimes If we're not that type of learner, we're like, gosh, do we really have to do that? And yes, the answer is yes, you have to do that so that you hit all the other learning styles, okay? Now, let's talk about making a memorable introduction. And this is one of the top skills I learned from one of my coaches, who is Lisa Nichols, how to introduce myself succinctly in a way that would catch someone's attention. I literally see people's demeanor change when I use this. Their ears perk up, their eyes get big, their interest is high. I get verbal wows when I do my introduction. And then people are like, can you help me with mine? I'm like, as a matter of fact, yes, I can. Remember, you never get a second chance to make a first impression, right? But first I want to talk about how a lot of the normal ways to introduce us is, and why it lands flat. And I'm not going to say that I never use this type of introduction. I'm just saying that the reason why this other way of doing things and introducing yourself works for me a little bit better. So most coaches have some sort of, I help blank, you know, the type of person it is, to blank so that they can blank, blank, blank. That's usually the way that we make our introductions. And the reason it lands flat is it starts out with the why, or not the why, with the I, and not about the person you're addressing. And it also doesn't show as much credibility. So if you refer back to the columns of the where they will be after in your Speak Your Audience's Language template and the above thing, you'll find the words your ideal client really needs to hear from you if you've dug deeply enough, right? So we can apply this formula using this A, B, C. So as a result of, so this is really important to put in the beginning, as a result of blank. So working with me, my program, or whatever, right? And then this goes into this blank. Sorry, it's kind of like, it's all over the place here. So entrepreneurs, coaches, my clients, right, can become, are able to, and then result so that they can blank, 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 right? So these are all those benefits from the chart above that you wrote. Now, a lot of times, this is all that I say, A and B is all I say when I introduce myself in a networking event. If you have the opportunity to go further and ask more, then you can put in this optional, I'm looking for people who, and then insert the best person that you're looking for. And then C is the collaborate, who do you know? Now the reason why who do you know is so important is because it's a 45-degree angle, right? A lot of times we're standing in front of somebody in a networking event and we're thinking, is this person for us? Is this person, maybe I should be pitching them. Maybe like, because we want to know, right? It's easier to just say, who do you know? Because it's not straight in the, like, is that you? Do you need help? Can I da-da-da for you? Like, it's, they feel turned off when you're that in their face about it. So when you say, I'm looking for people who, and then ask, who do you know? It gets them thinking. And they think about, you know, people they hang out with and stuff like that. And they're like, wait a minute, who do I know? Me, that's me. So they can self-select then and say, hey, I'm the one you're looking for. I really need your help. I probably have friends too, but I really need your help. And then it's not so confrontational, right? It doesn't feel so salesy. So this is my example. As a result of working with me, entrepreneurs become best-selling authors who are able to share their story impactfully, grow their following, create a worldwide reach, and turn readers into clients while they sleep. I'm looking for people who want to write a bestseller for their business in the next 3 to 6 months, knows they have a story to tell, has a proven process, and wants to get a consistent stream of clients into their business. Who do you know? You can say that in less than 60 seconds. And if I only use the top part, it's like, 30 seconds. So a lot of times the networking organizers really appreciate you because you know what to say and you can say it succinctly, because we've all been to those networking events, right? Where people are like, oh, I think I do this, and they're not really sure, and they run off on this tangent, and they start telling their life story about when they were 3. And then 10 minutes later, you're like, wait a minute, I don't understand what you do anymore. When you can put it down this succinctly, it really helps somebody to hone in. And I usually get a flood of people giving me their business cards and wanting to connect afterwards. I know Julie is going to a networking event soon, so yay on that, and let us know how that goes when you come back. And everybody else, if you're not done with module 1, that's part of the action steps. So let's talk a little bit about mindset. Now that you know that your audience is, what your audience is interested in, it might be scary to put yourself out there. Now, we talked a little bit about this in the beginning, right? Know that you're not alone, and also know that you don't have to be perfect. Done is better than perfect. Just put yourself out there. You'll start finding it's a little fun to just try different messages and see how they land. And then you're like, ooh, that one works. And when you get that little bit of success and you tweak another one and try it again, it actually becomes a little bit of a game. And hopefully that'll end up being fun for you, right? You'll figure out what works better than others. You'll find a topic that works. And then when you do more of it. Some of the posts that I have put out have totally surprised me that one of them kind of lands flat and the other one people are like loving it and then reaching out and wanting to talk more. So you never know until you put it out, right? And also give your audience a sneak peek into the behind the scenes with you. Share some personal things outside of business. You need to be somebody that people can relate to, right? The only person who cares about the goof up is you. Plus, no one knows that you're goofing up except you. I do this thing called PJ Coach Day. So if some of you are on my personal timeline, you'll see that I do PJ Coach Day sometimes. And I've been criticized for this from my other coach friends. They're like, I can't believe you show up in your PJs. And my hair is messy. And I have no makeup on. And I don't care. It's a weekend thing that I do because I love PJs. If we could walk around in PJs all the time, I would be all for that. Even though I love to wear my heels and I love to dress up and go to events, on all the other days, like today, I wish I could be here in my PJs. So that's why I did PJ Coach Day. And part of that is because that's just part of my personality. And people want to see that. Like, I can be the real dressed up person and I can be totally casual. I think people like to know those things. So let them see that and let them see that you're not totally perfect all the time, right? Because nobody really was perfect anyway, right? But here's a hint. Don't tell your audience that you're nervous. Don't bring attention to something that you forgot to say. Don't say that you're not good at this, or this is your first time, or your second time, or your fifth time. You know, just go out and do it. I've had lights fall down in the background. I've had my earring fall out. I've had sometimes I'll have like a script up on my screen, and sometimes that script like completely has wigged out and frozen and I can't scroll and I don't know what I had planned on doing next. Nobody knows because we just keep going, right? So one of the things that I went to this past week, and I was at an event, and we got the most amazing surprise in tickets to a Broadway show. So we went and saw Chicago. And after that show, we got to interview not all, we got to interview some of the cast and then one of the orchestra people. And what really struck me was, and the coach that I have right now, she was in theater. I actually had two coaches that were in theater. I got to thinking about them, like, that's interesting. But that aside, she said, business is business. It doesn't matter what business you're in. Theater is a business. Being a producer is a business. And each of those dancers and actors, or whatever you want to call them, they are in a business too, right? They are their own business owners in a sense. And what they said that really struck me was, we're professionals. We have to show up in a certain way. We are expected to show up in a certain way. And we are expected to show up fully. And they said that the reason why they were able to continue doing what they were doing and being fresh, even though they're doing the same thing 8 times a week, they did 8 shows, is that they thought about that person out in the audience, that grandma who saved for months to buy 2 tickets for her and her granddaughter to come sit in the audience. They thought about that person who this was the first time they've ever been to a Broadway show. And they performed for that person. And I thought, you know what? If we could do that in our business and constantly be always thinking about what it means to that other person, rather than thinking about the fears that come up for us or how we don't think we're good enough or whatever that is coming up for you. If we could just focus so much on what I have to give and what I have to share and what I have to offer is going to bring joy, happiness, whatever it is, right, that we're delivering in our benefits to somebody who this is so important and this is such a special thing for. And if only we could just show up that way. And the other guy, he said, because he was a trumpet player and a trombone player, or tuba player, that's what trombone and tuba player. It's a weird combination, and it's unique. And he said, you need to go and find out what your weirdness is. And when you embrace your weirdness fully and you show up and you use that weirdness as your thing, right? He said, that is when you become successful. And I thought, that is so true of business too, right? Of us. When we can fully, embrace who we are and how we want to show up versus how everybody else tells us to show up. Like I said, I've been criticized for showing up with my PJs or being casual one day and being dressed up the next day. But I'm just like, well, who gets to tell me how I dress? Who gets to tell me how I show up, right? We get to decide that. And if we want to be quirky and weird and funky and whatever, then we get to do that. And when we fully embrace that, that's when we become successful. Because that's what people truly want to see from us. They want to see the real you. And while authenticity, I think, is a little bit overused sometimes, it's just so true, right? And as you do things more and more and more, like I said before, your confidence grows, right? It's like the first time, droving, that's not even a word. It's like the first time driving a car. You probably were afraid to back up. You probably didn't know how to parallel park. My son is taking his driver's license test today. And so I'm sure he's afraid to fail. What if he fails, right? Parallel parking felt scary. It maybe seemed like everyone was driving too close or that you didn't have enough time to turn left, right? Remember how long we waited to turn left when we were learning to drive? We waited and waited and waited. Now we're like, oh, there's enough time. And we turn because there's a certain level of confidence we know in the distance of that car. The more that we do it, the more confidence we have, just like anything in your business, right? Now you back up without really thinking about it I hope you look, but I'm just saying, you throw it in reverse and you kind of go through the motions because you've done it so many times, right? You don't really have to think that much of the timing of your turn because it comes second nature now, right? So confidence, right, is built by doing, not by waiting. So action steps, complete everything in this module. I've just gone over most everything with you. Post your ABC introduction in the Facebook group. Find a local networking group to practice your ABC intro with. This is super important, really, really important. I built my business online for 2 years, and it wasn't until the third year that I was like, I really need to get out into the networking in my area. And you will be so thankful that you got out in your area later on, especially if you want to be hosting workshops and events. You'll be able to then grab people that you know in the area. When I went to do my first event, every single person I wanted to invite was not in Michigan. So it became more difficult for me to get people there with a smaller audience and people flying in from, out of the country even to come to my first event. My first event had 5 people in it. That was such a disaster. I'm not even going to go there. I so overwhelmed them with so much content. It was ridiculous. But like everything, live and learn. The second one was way better. So anyways, number 4, share your biggest takeaways from this module in the Facebook group, and then ask any questions that you have. Like I said, the Facebook group is your support. That's where I can go in. If you don't hear from me within like 48 hours, go back and tag me in the comments. It usually will mean that I missed it. I am on Facebook probably way more than I would like to admit, because it is also not just my business, but it is my fun. So anyways, if I don't see it right away, that's usually the reason I have not responded. Okay? So there you go. And let me know right now in the comments if you don't have certain things or whatever. There's also my admin is at admin@vickywool.com. Her name's Elise. And Seema, sorry about that. Thank you for letting me know that people are waiting to be let in. I couldn't see the chat and the participation and thing all at the same time, so I apologize if you just got in. I couldn't see both things at the same time when I was sharing screen. So let me check the chat, and then if you guys want, at the bottom of the screen, it should say participants or something on your side, I think. And you can raise your hand if you have a question or something that you want to ask. It can be anything module related or not. And while you do that, I'm going to see if there's anything in the chats. Malika says it's true because she's Asian too. Yup, that's the way Asians are brought up. All right, cool. So, yeah, Seema, I know there's a thing to fix the weighting, and initially I thought I wanted it, and now I don't. Okay, I see all the stuff about, reasons that you guys were joining. So I appreciate that. Telling your story better, techniques for Facebook Live and social media, make sales with stories. That's a big deal because that's what I said in the challenge was like, I was really good at attracting an audience, but I wasn't good at closing the sale. So it was like, when I created this, I thought, what good is it for me to teach you guys to grow your following and then not know what to do with them or not be good at it afterwards? And I think a lot of times that's what ends up being missing. What's missing in a lot of programs is they don't get to that part. So I want to make sure that that was in here so that you could get better at that as well. To help others with story, don't understand any themes. Okay, so Minda, about the themes. So in the before and after of the that page, right? It had like what keeps them up at night and what their struggles are and all that stuff, right? Okay, yes. So under that, you'll find that there will be themes that pop up about how they feel, how they think others think of themselves, how they think of themselves, and all that stuff. So let me unmute you. Minda, so tell everybody what you do.
Like what? I had filled in all the forms where they are now and where they will be after. But going down into any themes, I just was, is it just repeating where they are now and where they will be?
Yeah, maybe some of them could be repeated. Like some of it might be just plucking out some words that you see that are standing out. So when we did the challenge, I think we did a weight loss one, and then we also did a relationship one. Maybe I can cut those and put them into the module so that you have another example of us going through it. Maybe that would be helpful. I can do that. And basically, we talked about looking through the left-hand side and the right-hand side and seeing what kind of themes, what kind of things keep popping up for these people, feeling like, I don't know, what's on yours, Minda?
Mostly about health and being hopeless.
Yep.
Because it seems like they just keep going around with the doctors or with any healthcare practitioner. Mm-hmm. So they just feel angry, depressed. They, they feel isolated.
Yep.
And really hopeless.
Yeah, so I think those would definitely still be some of the themes at least, hopeless would be a theme. Going around in circles is a theme.
Okay. I'm getting there.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. All right, Julie says, been using a similar template. Yes, it is fun. And here's the thing about that is you're going to keep going back to that before and after over and over again. Whether you are adding another program to something or you're revisiting something to tweak it, you're going to keep going back to it over and over again. So don't think of it as like I do this once and then it's like a one and done. It's a revisit type of thing, right? Julie says, Google networking Bakersfield. Oh, good. Yes. You know, there are a ton of things if you just look in Meetup and if you look in Eventbrite. And one of the places I also look in is Facebook. So Facebook, if I just type in Michigan, or if I type in Detroit, or if I type in Michigan women entrepreneur, like if I want to be more specific, they have groups for all of those things. And then sometimes those people will post things in there and you'll find out about events that way. You can also ask them if they need speakers through there. Some of my first speaking gigs were because people posted in a Detroit group and I said, hey, are you still looking for speakers? And it's actually a much more casual process because usually those particular events are not like this huge, massive ordeal where there's a speaker application. So sometimes it's easier to get in, but you also have to know what your benefits are for their people, right? Always, everything is always about looking at benefits. Okay. Cool. I think that's all that I've seen. Does anybody have any questions? Nobody raised their hand. Is it because you don't know how to raise your hand or because it was so crystal clear that you don't have any questions? Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. All right, so I'm going to assume that you guys don't have any questions. That is awesome. Is that because you didn't do module 1 yet? Because I can go Asian on you again on this one too. All right, cool. The last thing I want to talk about, well, two last things that I want to talk about. You're not always going to feel like wanting to do this. I'm just going to tell you that right now. I got back from my event in New York and I was talking to my my VA this morning and about the things that are coming up, the next challenge that I'm going to do, the live event that's coming up, things that I have to prepare and promos that I need to put out and content that I need to create. I've reused a lot of content, but then there's always within the reuse, and when we get to the 90-day content calendar, this will make sense to you guys too. But within the content calendar that you have, you'll reuse parts of it, and then you'll always have new things that you need to make in that 90 days. So the new things that I need to make, I have a list. And I was talking to my VA, like I said today, and I said, you know what? One of the things I tell people all the time is, you're not always going to feel like doing it. I don't always feel like doing it, but it's the commitment, and we're back to that word again, that gets you doing it, right? I think a lot of times in our heads, we spoil ourselves a lot. I spoil myself. Like I came back from New York and I'm like, but I did all this. And my storytelling for Stages and Pages program is starting today. And this, and this, and this. And I got to take Trenton to his driver's test. And I got to this. And oh my gosh. And I got to turn in my, like all these other things with life, right? My husband added to it, go find me a truck to lease. And I was like, sure, I'll do that by Thursday. Because like the end of the month is when they have all the extra promos. So that's like Wednesday. I'm like, thanks. Yeah, no problem. I can do that. He asked me yesterday. So anyways, you know, there's all these things that can pull and tug you. And I think a lot of times we can get into that spoil ourselves kind of thing, or like we only feel like doing what's fun and comfortable. And one of the things I told my kids, that they got this weird idea that when they get their first job, and my daughter is finding this out because she graduated from college a year ago. They had this weird idea that when you got a job that you were going to like every part of it. And I'm like, that's not how life works. There's always going to be parts of your job, even if you're an entrepreneur and you get to be in charge. Because that was their next thing was, well, I'm going to be in charge. I'm going to be, you know, either the CEO or I'm going to own the thing or whatever. I'm like, guess what? One of those days you walk in the door, you're going to have to clean the toilet because the janitor didn't show up. You're going to have to be the cashier because the person quit. You're going to, you know, it's like there's just stuff that you're not necessarily going to want to do, right? We all have those things in our business. Maybe some of us don't really love the bookkeeping part. Maybe some of us don't really like writing the content part. Maybe some of us don't love getting online, right? But it's that thing about your want to and your don't want to that, you know, is that struggle. And you just have to get into the spot where you're really, really willing to say, I love being uncomfortable. And I don't always have to feel like doing it, but I do need to make sure that I show up. Because what could happen if for 6 weeks in this program, you showed up and you did everything that you actually didn't feel like doing? You know? Minda says, I clean the toilets when I own my own business. Exactly. My mom and dad did too. They slept there most of the time as well. They took out the garbage, right? We all have to do those things. So let's see. Malika says here, I am yet to do module 1, commitment and complete in my journal writing for today. Thank you. Awesome. Okay, last shot for questions. I'm going to just unmute everybody. And everybody say congratulations to Jay because she is expecting.
Thank you.
When? What are you doing?
Complete with anti-sickness bands.
Aww.
Yeah.
Poor thing. Why is online so much? This is why online is so much better. No action toilets. Yeah, except I have to clean the toilets at the house still, right? They're going to the toilet someplace. That's funny. Awesome. Okay, so last. We all have a free ticket to the storytelling, or not storytelling, for the Stories Sell Live event. I would encourage you all to come get the VIP ticket. The VIP ticket is an upgrade where you also get light breakfast, you get priority seating, you get early access, and you get lunch with a mastermind Q&A with me. So make sure that you guys RSVP for that. The room block is good until August the 8th for your discount. So you can either get that upgrade or you can reserve your spot with a $97 refundable deposit. The VIP upgrade is $80. I actually gave you all a discount on that. So take it because that covers your food. And you'll probably get a voicemail or an email or something from me or my assistant about that because we need to make sure we know how many people are coming so we're prepared and all of that stuff, right? So that's it. Let me know that you're coming. I hope you all are coming. I want you all to come. It's going to be so amazing. So amazing. And you have a free ticket, so there's no reason not to come. Except maybe Jay. But I still want Jay to come. Still want Jay to come. Because, you know, we're going to be doing hot seats. We're going to be digging into stories some more, but really, really talking way more than we can in one module of this program. We're going to be digging into sales. That is the big deal about Stories Sell Live, is we are digging into sales. So if that's something that you struggle with, something that you want to get better, something that you want to improve your closing ratio on, then make sure that you are here for that. Okay? Got it? All right. Awesome. Then we are wrapped up and we are done. If you guys don't have any questions, I will see you in the group. Make sure you do your module. We'll be here again, same Zoom link, next week, Monday at 1 o'clock. All right? Awesome. See you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.